Libra, welcome to your monthly horoscope for October 2023. In this video, I will be going over all of the major energies for the month of October. Now, coming into the month, we are officially in eclipse season. We are going to have the solar eclipse right here in your first house, and we are going to have our final lunar eclipse in Taurus here in your eighth house. So we will be getting into all of that energy. Now, coming into the month, we have the sun in Libra moving through your first house. So there can be a lot of focus on you, a new direction, a new perception. This can be you maybe even focusing on your appearance, your physical body. There's a lot more focus on you, especially too. We have a lot of energy in Libra coming into the month, and because Venus is also your chart ruler. So you're going through a lot of energy shifts this month. Once we get to October 4th, we have Mercury entering your first house. So again, this is bringing a lot more focus to the self. Once we get to October 8th, we have Venus entering Virgo here in your 12th house. Venus is your chart ruler. Sometimes when the chart ruler moves through the 12th house, this is where we can have move through energies where there's a lack of energy. You can feel depleted sometimes because the 12th house suppresses energies. However, there's this mutual connection between Mercury and Venus here, Venus being in a Mercury ruled sign and Mercury being in a Venus ruled sign. So there is this mutual reception here between Mercury and Venus. Now, Venus being your chart ruler and being in Virgo, Venus not doing the best in Virgo. Venus is actually at her fall in Virgo. So this can feel like a difficult energy for you. Definitely a huge shift because you've had Venus in Leo since June. And also we went through that Venus retrograde through Leo. So over the last couple of months, there was a lot of shifting, a lot of changing with you. And this can have to do with your physical body, your appearance, your perception, and, friendships, online connections, social groups, because of that, Venus retrograding in that 11th house. But there's definitely was a lot of changes over the last few months. So now Venus moving into Virgo, being in your 12th house, there can be a lot of just sitting with energies, taking a time out in a sense. If you're feeling a little bit depleted, don't worry. It's that Venus kind of moving through Virgo. She will be in there until November 8th and then enter your first house, which will then be a beautiful energy. Now, once we get to October 10th, we have Pluto stationing direct here in your fourth house of home and family. But the interesting thing about this energy is that when Pluto stations, there's going to be this square to Mars. Mars is in your first house. This can feel a little bit challenging, especially, depending on if you have a day chart or a night chart, depending on if Mars is your most malefic planet. But Pluto brings what is beneath the surface to light to be transformed, to be transmuted. And this is very much an energy of possibly something being triggered or activated when it has to do with you, your perception, and coming to the surface for you to transmute and transform. So it can be an energy block showing up. It can be a stop. It can be something being put on hold when it has to do with you taking action with something, or when it has to do with, like I said, kind of your views and perception. But remember that with these energies, there's room for growth. This is where something can be activated to come to the surface where you're having to transmute it and transform. And then October 12th, we have Mars entering your second house of money and finances. And so you have Scorpio in the second house. This is where you do want to watch for, just kind of some annoyances showing up with the money and finances. That's definitely something that can take place with Mars moving through the second house. So there can be, some energies you're having to move through over the month of October when it has to do with your money, your finances, and your material possessions. So it is just something to be aware of. And then once we get to October 14th, we have the solar eclipse happening in Libra in your first house at 21 degrees. Don't pay attention to the moon. It'll be right here at 21 degrees. And so we have the nodes entered Aries and Libra back in July, and you have the North Node moving through your seventh house of relationships and the South Node moving through your first house of you. So there's going to be a lot of changes taking place when it has to do with you and your personal connections, your relationships, your one-on-one partnerships. We had a solar eclipse back April 20th, 2023, which really initiated us into this new energy. Something may have shown up for you back then around relationships. So this solar eclipse happening in Libra is new energies coming in, kind of adding to that story. And this solar eclipse has to do with you. Whether this has to do with you, you're going to be shifting and changing what you want in relationships, what you require in relationships between now and January 2025. You will be going through a lot of these changes here. It has to do with your relationships and you. And so this solar eclipse is bringing new energies in for you. On October 19th, 20th, and 21st, we have the Mercury Cazimi. Now, Mercury and the Sun are going to move from 25 to 26 to 27 degrees together. And this is where this is epiphany energy, sudden insight. This is where something can be showing up for you, whether you're having a conversation with somebody or intuitive download. There's definitely some energies showing up for you around the 19th, 20th, and 21st. You want to pay attention to the conversations you're having, the information you're receiving because it's Mercury, and also your thoughts, your intuitive downloads. Would be a really beautiful time to journal, all of your thoughts down, because this can be some type of insight or guidance when it has to do with a specific journey that you're moving through. And then on the 22nd, we have Mercury entering Scorpio. And on the 23rd, we have the Sun entering Scorpio. So we go from having a lot of energy in Libra here in your first house to now having a lot of energy in your second house. So there's a lot of focus on your money, your finances, your material possessions, your values. This can be you, taking action, towards something that has to do with your money and finances. It's the Sun. It's your life force energy, your vitality. Mercury, which is your mind, your thinking, communicating, and then Mars, taking action, motivational power and drive. So there can be a lot of, this is actually too, like really positive hustling energy where you're just hustling this month. You just want to make money. That's the last week of October. So yes, as we come out of October, that last week, there's a lot of focus on money, finances, and your material possessions. And then we get to October 28th, and we have our final lunar eclipse up here in Taurus at 5 degrees. And so this is closing out the Taurus-Scorpio nodal axis we've been moving through since February 2022. So if you think back to February 2022, what have you been moving through? What changes have been taking place when it has to do with your money and finances? This is closing that energy out for you. This lunar eclipse here in Taurus is bringing a finalizing of energies when it has to do with all of these changes you've been moving through with money and finances since February 2022. Now, also one more thing I want to note that I forgot to mention before, when we go back to October 14th here, hold on, let's go back for a sec because I forgot to mention that. I want to mention that when we have our solar eclipse in Libra, I want you to think back to 2005 because the South Node is in Libra and we have not had the South Node in Libra since 2005. And so the nodes come back to the exact same spot in your chart roughly every 18 years. So if you think back to 2005, what was showing up for you? What were you moving through? This can give you an idea of the energies that you will be moving through, with this entire nodal cycle, with the North Node being in Aries and the South Node being in Libra. Okay, Libra. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I hope this helps you move through the energy for October. If you align with my energy and enjoy my content, don't forget to subscribe and like this video, and I will connect with you in the next one.